The first gunshot echoed through the Philippine jungle like a warning sent by the earth itself, sharp and final, slicing through the thick morning mist just seconds after the U.S. Special Forces unit crossed the river line marked on their classified map. Captain Daniel Cross raised his fist, freezing 12 of the most elite soldiers America had ever trained, men whose hearts no longer raced at danger and whose hands never trembled on triggers. Yet something was wrong, terribly wrong, because the jungle was too quiet, unnaturally still, as if every bird, insect, and unseen creature had collectively decided to hold its breath. Sweat ran down Cross's spine beneath his tactical vest as his radio crackled alive, not with command chatter, but with static so thick it sounded like whispering voices fighting to be heard. At exactly 0607 hours, the last clear transmission was sent. Falcon Base, this is Specter One. We have eyes on the target zone. Terrain hostile, visibility poor, moving in. That was it. No panic, no gunfire in the background, no final words, just disciplined professionalism. Then silence. Back at Falcon Base, analysts stared at glowing monitors as the tracking dots representing 12 American operators blinked once, twice, and vanished completely, as if the jungle itself had swallowed them whole without leaving a trace. And in that moment, an unspoken truth settled heavily in the room. Whatever lived inside that jungle was not afraid of the best soldiers in the world. 3 days earlier, the mission briefing had been buried under layers of secrecy so deep it bypassed normal military channels, hand-delivered to Captain Cross in a sealed black folder marked with a single red line, meaning plausible deniability if everything went wrong. The intelligence claimed a rogue militant faction had taken refuge deep within an uncharted section of the southern Philippine jungle, an area avoided even by locals, a place without official roads, satellite clarity, or consistent radio signals. The objective was simple on paper: insert, confirm presence, extract, no engagement unless necessary, no casualties, in and out within 48 hours. Missions like this were Cross's specialty until he noticed one detail no one wanted to discuss. Every previous surveillance drone sent into the region had either malfunctioned or disappeared. The Filipino military liaison assigned to the briefing, Major Elias Navarro, had spoken less than expected, his jaw tight and eyes distant, as if reliving something he wished to forget. When Cross pressed him privately, Navarro finally said the words that should have ended the mission immediately. "Sir, soldiers go in there, but they don't come back the same. Some return mute, some return mad. Most don't return at all." The room had gone quiet, but Washington wanted results, not folklore, and so orders stood. 12 men boarded the transport aircraft, believing they were hunting terrorists, unaware they were walking straight into a legend soaked in blood and silence. The deeper the unit pushed forward, the more reality seemed to bend around them, paths subtly shifting, landmarks appearing twice in different directions, compasses spinning uselessly as though mocking modern navigation. Sergeant Miles Harper, the team's tracker, noticed footprints that didn't match any known boot pattern, longer, deeper, and spaced unnaturally far apart, as if something tall and patient had been following them for hours. Overhead, the jungle canopy blocked out the sky entirely, plunging the team into a green twilight where time felt slow and distorted, each step heavier than the last, every sound amplified and yet somehow wrong. Then the first man vanished, no scream, no struggle.
Corporal Jensen had been walking point when the ground beneath him simply collapsed inward, not into a pit, but into darkness itself, swallowing him whole before anyone could reach him. When the team tried to dig, they found no hole, just solid earth, untouched, as if Jensen had never existed. Panic threatened discipline, but Captain Cross forced them forward, knowing retreat without answers would only doom them later. Behind them, the jungle closed silently, erasing their tracks, sealing their fate with ancient indifference. Major Navarro's warning echoed in Cross's mind as the team stumbled upon something no map had marked, a clearing filled with rusted weapons, torn uniforms, and weather-bleached dog tags from different eras, different armies, different wars, American, Filipino, Japanese, all abandoned in one place like offerings. At the center stood a stone shrine carved with symbols older than recorded history, stained dark with dried blood that no amount of rain had washed away. The air grew heavy, pressing against their lungs, and for the first time fear crept openly into the eyes of men trained never to show it. From the trees came whispers, not in English, not in Tagalog, but in voices each man recognized as his own thoughts, spoken aloud. Regrets, confessions, names of loved ones, private memories no one else should know. One by one, soldiers turned their weapons on shadows that moved just beyond sight, firing into nothing until ammunition ran low and screams replaced gunfire. Whatever guarded that jungle did not kill quickly. It broke minds first, feeding on fear, guilt, and the arrogance of men who believed skill and technology made them untouchable. By nightfall, only Captain Cross and two others remained, huddled against a fallen tree as unseen shapes circled them, eyes glowing faintly in the darkness, moving without sound. The radio came alive one final time, not with Falcon bass, but with Major Navarro's voice, calm and resigned. Captain, if you can hear me, I am sorry. This land is older than our flags. It does not forgive trespass. Cross understood then. This was never a counter-terror mission. It was containment, and his unit had been sent as proof that the boundary still held. When the creatures finally emerged, they were neither beasts nor men, but something in between, bodies shaped like humans yet stretched wrong, skin blending perfectly with vines and bark, faces shifting between familiar and monstrous. Cross fought until his weapon clicked empty, until his arms burned and his vision blurred, until the jungle closed in completely. His final transmission wasn't a call for help, it was a warning. Do not send anyone else. Let it sleep. The signal cut abruptly, leaving only static and the distant sound of rain.
Weeks later, an official report labeled the mission a training accident. The men declared lost during a navigation failure caused by severe weather, their families given folded flags and empty explanations. The jungle zone was quietly marked as restricted airspace, erased from future mission plans, its coordinates buried deep within classified archives. Major Navarro resigned without explanation, returning to a quiet village where he lit candles each year on the anniversary, whispering prayers not for the dead, but for the living who might one day forget. Yet sometimes, late at night, operators stationed across the Pacific swear they hear distorted radio chatter bleeding through unused frequencies, voices calling out coordinates that don't exist, warnings spoken in Captain Cross's voice, repeating the same message over and over. The U.S. Special Forces entered the Filipino jungle, and no one returned, not because they were defeated, but because some places were never meant to be conquered.
2 months after Specter One vanished from every operational screen, a lone figure staggered out of the jungle at dawn, collapsing near a remote Filipino farming trail, with skin clinging to bone and eyes so hollow they seemed carved out by terror itself. Villagers found him mumbling in broken English, his military tattoos barely visible beneath layers of mud and scar tissue, his dog tag hanging from his neck like a curse rather than identification. When authorities arrived, they confirmed the impossible. Staff Sergeant Lucas Reed, one of the 12 declared dead, was alive. Yet whatever walked out of that jungle no longer moved or spoke like a soldier trained by the United States military. He flinched at sunlight, recoiled from running water, and screamed uncontrollably whenever trees swayed too closely in the wind. During debriefings, Reed refused to answer questions directly, instead repeating the same fragmented phrases, his voice shaking as if something inside him was trying desperately to stay silent. "It learned us. It wears us. It doesn't kill if it can keep you." Medical scans showed nothing physically wrong, but his heartbeat spiked violently whenever maps of the jungle appeared, and he begged his handlers to burn his uniform, insisting the fibers still remembered the place. 3 nights later, Reed vanished from a secured military hospital room without triggering a single alarm, leaving only muddy footprints on the ceiling and a handprint pressed deep into reinforced steel, as if the jungle had come to reclaim what briefly escaped. Panic spread quietly through intelligence circles when a corrupted hard drive surfaced in Manila's black market, allegedly recovered from a crashed surveillance drone lost years earlier. When analysts finally decrypted the footage, they discovered night vision recordings of the Specter One unit deep inside the jungle, footage that contradicted every official report. The men weren't being hunted chaotically, they were being guided, herded with precision by shifting terrain and mimicry of human voices, lured deeper with false clearings and familiar radio calls that copied Falcon Base perfectly. The jungle wasn't wild, it was intelligent. The final frames froze every room that viewed them. Captain Cross standing alone, weapon lowered, speaking calmly to something just outside the camera's range, his posture not defensive, but respectful, almost submissive. The audio revealed his last unheard words. "We understand now. We won't fight. Just let them go." The feed ended with the camera turning slowly toward the trees, where dozens of human faces emerged from bark and shadow, faces of soldiers long missing, eyes open, mouths moving in silent screams, confirming the unthinkable truth that the jungle didn't merely kill intruders, it absorbed them. An emergency council convened off-record, attended by military leaders, intelligence directors, and diplomats who understood that acknowledging the truth would rewrite everything humanity believed about unexplored lands and dominion. The decision was unanimous and ruthless. The existence of the jungle entity would be erased, classified beyond top secret, its coordinates removed from all digital and physical navigation systems. Satellite feeds would be permanently blurred, commercial flight paths rerouted, and local communities quietly relocated under humanitarian pretexts. History would forget the men who vanished, not to dishonor them, but to prevent others from following. Major Navarro was summoned one last time, asked a question that chilled the room into silence. "Can it be destroyed?" Navarro shook his head slowly, eyes heavy with centuries of inherited fear. "You cannot destroy a guardian that was here before your weapons were imagined. You can only respect the boundary." And so the jungle was left alone, untouched by bombs, fire, or machines, its silence protected by lies layered carefully enough to withstand time. Yet deep within classified vaults, one file remained marked active, waiting for the day containment would fail. Years passed, and the world moved on, but the jungle did not sleep. It watched, it listened, and it learned. Rangers patrolling distant borders reported hearing English commands echoing through the trees, perfectly pronounced, but spoken with a wrongness that raised goosebumps on hardened men. Occasionally, satellites captured brief thermal signatures shaped like human patrol formations, moving where no troops were deployed, vanishing the moment attention focused on them. The jungle wasn't wild, it was expanding, its understanding, expanding the edges of its prison, patiently mimicking the very forces that once dared to challenge it. The final warning came not as an attack, but as a message broadcast across multiple unsecured military frequencies worldwide, synchronized to the exact second Specter One disappeared years earlier. Captain Cross's voice returned, calm, steady, and undeniably real. The boundary is thinning. Do not come looking. We are not lost. We are held. The transmission ended, leaving behind a chilling certainty that the U.S. Special Forces never truly left the Filipino jungle, and that whatever lives there is no longer content to remain hidden forever.